You're listening to Creative Conversations with Be Clear Allen, where we illuminate and educate through entertainment, social consciousness, and intriguing topics for the heart, spirit, and soul. You have now entered into Scene 1. We also call it the mini topic. Welcome to another episode of Creative Conversations, Scene 1. Well, for this week, I want you to think about this topic. The next best... Yeah, that's it. That's the topic. And the reason why this title needs to get your attention is because I'm feeling like a lot of people are just tired of almost everything. And I don't mean physically tired necessarily, although you could be. And it's a lot deeper than just the pandemic or something not going your way in life. I think it's just so much deeper than that. And I think people are tired of being sold on something. I don't know if you would call it propaganda, but I just think they're tired of being sold on the next best this or the next best that, or this is who we need to follow now on this particular social media platform. This is the best recipe for spaghetti on the face of the planet, and you have to make your spaghetti like this. I'm just exhausted. I don't know if you guys are. If I'm off or whether you agree with me, please send me a message to anchor.fm/Be Clear Allen. You can go on there and leave me a voice message. I definitely want to hear from you, whether I am totally off on this or not. But I mean, I just feel this intense need to unplug from so much. Not in the sense that I'm checked out, because I'm very self-aware and I have awareness of what is around me. But I will admit, so much of what is going on in our society is mentally exhausting. It's draining. And I want to regroup. I want to stay in intense prayer. I want to ponder about things a little bit more. And sometimes I feel like people want immediacy. They want things instantly from you. And to protect our peace, sometimes you can't give it at that moment. Take Facebook, for instance. I love to go on Facebook and check in with family and friends. Lately, I go on Facebook, honestly, and I go straight to my groups that I'm a part of. I'm a part of several travel groups, which I really, really love. Women who travel all over the world and share their stories. I'm also part of a musical theater group where there are writers and aspiring producers and such in that group. I'm a part of several business and financial groups. That's really exciting to hear people's stories and receive advice on how to increase your wealth. I also check into a couple of groups that are more personal. I have a grief group. Some of you may know that I lost my mother several years ago, so I still go through and I check into the group. I try to be of help, but it also helps me too. And another group that's a little more personal that I check into as well. So that's kind of been, I would say, my season more so. It started probably before the pandemic, but the pandemic definitely made me kind of run more into those groups because I found community there, and the world seemed to get a lot more hateful and hostile. So I definitely enjoyed community with like-minded individuals and just checking privately with family and friends in the inbox or, video messaging and such. I'm really not trying to be like Mrs. Scrooge or anything about, our society today or anything like that, because there's a lot of great things happening and we definitely want to stay plugged in and tuned in and remain innovative and updated and all of that great stuff and keep up with the current events. But I also feel there is this intense longing to stay in your lane and protect your peace. No one can do it for you. I just want to encourage you to do what you need to do, unplug from so much. There's too much going on. And people are doing too much. Sometimes you have to dismiss yourself from the party. You have now entered into Act 1. We also call it the main event. For this week's episode, Act 1, I want to talk about the moving forward of things. It's so funny because this episode was really inspired by a text that I received, and ultimately it was a phone call from a very dear, special friend of mine that I've known for probably 20 years. And she reached out to me and asked me to give her a call, and I knew, wow, something's up. I need to reach out to her because I don't talk to her as often as maybe some other friends, right? To my surprise, I found out that she met someone. And not only met someone, met them during the most inconvenient, uncomfortable, confusing time ever during a pandemic. And so I've heard some horror stories. I've heard that it's a really hard time for single people who really want to connect with someone and eventually have a relationship, court, and get married. And so this, in some ways, was quite miraculous, if you will, of how this came together. And as I was sitting there listening to her love story, I was amazed by how almost everything has come together in such an orderly fashion. And so I said all that to say that I want to encourage you in the moving forward of things, whether it's in your relationships or maybe you're having to pivot a bit in your dreams. Maybe you've been living your dream and all of a sudden things have changed, the season changed, and you're having to pivot and you're not sure of what your next chapter is going to be. Whatever it is, there's a moving forward of things. And hearing my friend's story just kind of ignited that in me this week to just remember that. We never know what God is doing behind the scenes. Once again, I'm sure you've heard that before, but we do need these constant reminders that we don't know what's silently being worked out for us. Maybe you're like me. I have several things that are huge things that are totally out of my realm that I want to manifest. And I have no idea how they're going to manifest. I just believe they will. I'm doing my part. I'm putting my faith into action. And that's all I can do. I'm not worried about anything else. And let me tell you, that's not easy. It's not easy not to worry. By the way, I don't want you to think, hey, I've just got it so together. No. This has all been a process for me to be at peace with the moving forward of things that are completely out of my control. I've had to let go and I've had to let God. As I'm recording this episode right now, I'm thinking of a few friends of mine who have maybe been through a divorce and they've been single for quite some time, or maybe they've never been married before, or it's been a long time since they've made a connection with someone. And maybe they're feeling like, wow, it's not going to happen. I'm done. Or they have dreams that they've been pursuing, and it hasn't manifest in the way that they wanted it to as yet. So you're having to pivot into a different direction or altering that particular direction. So there's so many different scenarios here, but I said all that to say my friend had zero on her radar. And I was actually concerned, secretly, and I was praying for her secretly because I said, I don't want her to miss a blessing because she has some walls up, or I feel that in my spirit that she's done. Hear me again. This came out of nowhere. My friend was not looking. Nothing was on her radar. I tell you, an amazing blessing. I said all that to say, get ready for the moving forward of things in your life. Yeah, I know. I'm such a hopeless romantic. I'm about the happy endings all the time. I'm sorry, but I can't help it. And for those of you who are a little cynical, and you say to me, well, what if things don't work out for your friend? Well, I want to leave you with the words of Nelson Mandela. I never lose. I either win or I learn. Check out a new episode of Creative Conversations every Sunday on your favorite social media platform. If you have a topic you'd like to have a conversation about, email us at beclearallen@gmail.com. Sign up for notifications so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening.